One topic, two guests, two perspectives, one show that gets to the point with the biggest names in business, media, entertainment, and technology. Welcome to The Point with me, John Steinberg. On this episode of The Point, we're talking about social media celebrity. As digital media replaces TV, movies, and radio, the very definition of the word celebrity is changing. Getting famous used to mean you had a popular TV show, movie, or music hit. These days, all you need is a phone and a social media account. Tonight, I'm talking to two people who can now call themselves celebrities, thanks to the internet. 20-year-old Nash Grier started making Vine videos about 5 years ago and now has about 10 million Instagram followers, 5 million YouTube subscribers, and an acting career.
One of the things I realized was, why isn't there something I'm posting every day that's helping someone?
And while social media is all about numbers, age isn't one of them. 64-year-old Lyn Slater is a university professor whose fashion blog, Accidental Icon, has exploded in popularity over the past 2 years. And her biggest audience is 25 to 35-year-olds.
In order to take risks, you need to not be afraid of being demeaned.
Social media is all about views, but it's also about money. Top Instagram influencers can make $150,000 for a partnership. Major YouTube stars can make twice that. But even so-called micro-influencers, people with around 100,000 followers, can make some cold, hard cash here and there. Brands usually shell out around $5,000 for a post or a partnership at that level. So how exactly do you get internet famous, and what do you do once you've got it? We'll explore the many different shades of social media influence on this episode of The Point. So tell us a story of how you became a fashion influencer or a social media icon.
It's a long story, but I am in academia, and I was feeling, starting about 5 years ago, kind of constrained and controlled by how I could write about things and how I could represent things. And so I started to take courses in some of the fashion schools and in social media. And in every class I took, people would say, "Oh, you should start a blog, you have great style." And so I decided that would be a good way to take on this new project of self-expression and creativity. And because I'm an academic, I did a lot of research. I looked at a great many of the blogs that were out there. I looked at a lot of the mainstream fashion magazines, and there really wasn't, they were all the same. I felt they were really boring, and they weren't really speaking to a woman who lives in a city, is very engaged in her culture, and really has a more intelligent approach to thinking about fashion.
Nash has been named one of Time Magazine's 30 most influential people on the internet in 2015 and 2016. He was also named one of Time Magazine's most influential teens. Walk me through, you're 14 years old, you discover this new app on your phone, and what happens next?
I'm sitting in my room, and it's midsummer. I deleted all my social media to focus on school. And then Vine came out. It was the only app I downloaded because my friends were like watching it and showing me about it. So I was like, all right, I'll download it. I was bored. I had too much free time. And I started making videos. And 4 or 5 videos in of me just messing with teachers or filming my little sister or messing around with my friends or something, they started to gain a little bit of traction. And I was confused one day. I woke up and I had 50,000 followers one day. So I kept it going. And I kind of went from, all right, how can I make these videos for this small amount of people, to, there's all these people watching now, I gotta try and really think and put effort into these videos. And I spent maybe a little too much of my time when I was in school just focusing on those videos. So literally 3 months after I'd started Vine, we got called to do Good Morning America. So we flew out to New York, skipped my first day of school, and we were doing Good Morning America.
And now you start making big bucks.
Yeah, no, actually, this is before, and this is such a new industry. How do we make money or monetize this? And back then it was only YouTube. So like, YouTube is the only way to make money as a digital creator. It's the only platform that lets you monetize your actual content.
You're trying to figure out how we're going to make money. What year is the breakthrough moment, and what is it?
So I think what ended up happening was me and Cameron, who's like probably my best friend out of the group.
Cameron who?
Dallas.
Okay.
We went and started talking to my parents and his parents and kind of like, you know, dropped it in there that we should be visiting in LA. And we basically did the test run where we went out here for 2 weeks, and from 5 a.m. to like 5 p.m. every day for 2 weeks, we went on nonstop meetings.
And what comes out of that?
A lot of confusion. People were telling us everything we wanted to hear, basically. We had a whole team of people that we didn't need going out and trying to, you know, do stuff for us, and like we were getting screwed over every possible way.
And then nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. The breakthrough moment was getting that first movie deal. That was the first contract I remember signing that convinced my parents to bring me out here, because I had to film out here for 2 or 3 months. That was kind of.
And now you're making like 10, 15 million bucks a year.
I don't know, to be honest. And my motivation for making money.
I was just throwing that number out there to see how you reacted.
No, I mean,
you don't know how much you make a year now?
No, I don't. I don't know how much I make a year. I don't know how much I made last week.
Well, who's keeping track of all that?
As far as who's managing my money, I have a business manager and my dad, and they kind of oversee all of that stuff. But I don't look at anything. I have one account and one card that I have like one amount on, and I live by that.
How do you fit it into your academic life, being able to do all of this?
My skills that I've developed as a professor, and the way that I approach teaching and my engagement with my students has actually been the cornerstone of why I think I've been successful in social media.
And what is that?
I very much am always around young people, and so I was kind of up to speed on technology before a lot of my peers, because I was seeing that that's how the students were really communicating now. One of the things that has been very helpful to me is being generous. And I have done a lot of supporting of emerging designers. And a lot of it I will do for free, because they are putting every dime into their clothing, and they don't have a PR budget.
Yeah.
But in return, I have the most unique wardrobes. And I've just found that when you're nice and generous in this business, that it comes back to you.
Coming up, 2 very different social media stars tell us how they keep their audiences coming back for more. Welcome back to The Point. Accidental icon Lyn Slater is 64. And YouTube star Nash Grier is 20. But their followers aren't that far apart in age. Here's how they reach fans and keep them coming back for more. Who are your followers? Who is your fan base? How do you describe that audience?
My fan base, I can tell you the demographics. Instagram, it's 18 to 30. It's a very international audience with a pretty large following in Asia. My blog, on the other hand, is a different demographic. It's probably women who are mid-30s to, say, 70, who have very interesting careers, architects, other professors, women who are not looking to be told what to wear. They already know that, but they want to talk about fashion, they want to engage around it.
Is there anything you found that hasn't worked with your audience? A particular area of coverage?
I think that's the reason why I've actually become popular, is that I'm really right on the line. And I think that I dress in a way that I can walk into a conference as a professor or a meeting, and people will say, okay, no one else looks like her, but we can't not take her seriously.
Right.
We can't say she's inappropriate. So
yeah, it's not a Lady Gaga meat dress, right?
Exactly,
Yes.
and it's not like some of the other, you know, fashionistas who really are overly dressed and do look eccentric. So I think I hit that fine line. What I have stayed away from is selling things overtly to my audience. And I know intuitively that that's not something they would like.
And then how do you monetize? How do you make this a business?
Well, I've had several modeling jobs. I've done a lot of videos across different lifestyle platforms. So, for example, I did a really fun video in Madrid for a luxury hotel. Basically, I work with brands, and we kind of co-create a story that's very authentic to me, that also will showcase their brand. And so that's really the way that I prefer to work, as opposed to, this is what I'm wearing, this is where you can buy it.
Yep.
And my audience would hate that.
I watch a bunch of your stuff, okay? And I mean, I'm like 40 years old, right? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I wouldn't want to watch your stuff.
That will change.
But no, but a lot of, but I say this because I want to give the compliment, which is kids love it. And you know what? I don't like your stuff. Why do kids like your stuff?
Okay.
Is that pointed enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I would say kids like my stuff because they can resonate with it. Like at first it was, oh, like I feel attached to this person. Like I'm a part of the reason that he is doing what he's doing. I'm a viewer, I'm a subscriber, I'm a follower that is propelling him forward, and in turn he will make content and make things for me specifically. So it started off that relationship, and I've just built it off of that relationship solely. But navigating the different platforms, whether it's posting a video or content, or just responding to tweets all day, or making a day and basically filming myself every day and what I'm doing. It is actually changing the way that we receive content and the content that we receive. So if you watch vlogs or something, some of those are 10 to 20 minutes, almost like a full episode without commercials, and people monetize the crap out of that. And those get tens of millions of views. So like to introduce that into the world is to completely change media.
And what do you think kids get when they watch your stuff?
My main thing now, that's been probably for the past year and a half or two, is to educate people. Is to what can I give, what can I learn, what questions can I answer, what advice can I give, or what can I show through failure or success that can educate someone? What can they view and will benefit them, or what will ultimately just benefit the viewer? That's kind of, I make everything for the viewer. It's for the consumer. I'm a consumer myself. I like when I learn something when I watch a movie. I like when I'm confused. I like when I'm tricked. And I think that's what I want to do the most of my content. But as far as, why kids like it, geez, I mean, you can do a whole bunch of stuff that kids like. Like I definitely have my jackass moments on Vine where I would just, do random
I saw you like breaking
stuff.
records, and you were like breaking records.
Breaking records.
Coming up, mistakes are part of growing up and growing a business. Our influencers tell us what they've learned from theirs.
I realized I had been getting too caught up in all of the craziness around, social media, and I was gaining a lot of traction, and I was doing all these things, and in a way beginning to lose myself.
I wanted to take the time to step back and say, oh my gosh, I need to think about what I actually did, the impact I'm actually making, and why this backlash is here. I need to truly understand it, as opposed to, oh, I did something wrong, let me fix my mistakes real quick, and keep going.
Welcome back to The Point. In the social media age, it's easier to lose a following than it is to build one. So every word and every image you post matters. But what happens when you get it wrong? Fashion blogger Lyn Slater and YouTube star Nash Grier tell us what they've learned from their mistakes. Lyn, have you ever made a mistake on social media? Have you ever written or said something you wish you hadn't?
I have been quite, I think, fortunate in that I have very little negative comments. The most frequent one being, oh, you should smile.
Okay.
And so on Facebook, and usually I don't respond.
Yeah.
So a woman really got into it on Facebook, and she was saying things like, oh, you have such a wonderful life, what is causing you not to smile? And for a reason which I'll explain, I got into it. And I responded back and said, who says women should smile, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of things online about what to say when a man tells you to smile, but there's nothing about when a woman tells you to smile. So we got into this thing, and then finally I just stopped it, and I deleted the thread.
Yep.
And then I had to think, and I actually looked at the picture she was commenting about, and I actually realized I didn't look happy. So there's a difference when I'm, you know, pretending to be a model and I'm like aping a model and having a serious face. But in this picture, I looked unhappy. And I had to, it caused me to self-reflect, and I realized I had been getting too caught up in all of the craziness around, you know, social media, and I was gaining a lot of traction, and I was doing all these things, and in a way beginning to lose myself. And I wasn't happy. It was not fun anymore.
Yep.
And I really wrote one of my most popular blog posts after that about needing to recalibrate and needing to reset, I called it. And now it's a word that a lot of my followers will use, like, I need a reset.
What is your personal manifesto?
It's that in order to take risks and in order to be experimental, which is the essence of growing as a person, you need to not be afraid of being demeaned. Mm-hmm. And so I want all of my places to be a place of inspiration, where you can follow your desire, where you can take a risk, try something new, and not be afraid of humiliation.
Let's talk about mistakes and failures, okay?
Let's do it.
You did a Vine where you made a homophobic comment, and then you came out and apologized. What was the road to forgiveness like on that? Do you feel like you are on a road to forgiveness?
Not only did I make a stupid offensive remark just about gay people, I made a stupid offensive remark about HIV/AIDS, about that whole community, and just kind of, I did something that I will never forgive myself for. I can't speak for anyone forgiving me, but I know I've done some stupid in my life, and I will continue to do stupid. It's just how I learn and respond from that is what people are truly watching. And of course, at the time, it was hurry, put out an apology, hurry, go partner with them and do this, and you know, all of it kind of felt forced and unnatural. And I wanted to take the time to step back and say, you know, oh my gosh, I need to think about what I actually did, the impact I'm actually making, and I need to truly understand it, as opposed to, oh, I did something wrong, let me fix my mistakes real quick and keep going.
And how old were you when you said that?
I don't know, it's probably 15. I wouldn't change anything about how anything in my life has happened. It took some time, but after like completely understanding the situation, it was like, wow, I've just completely up, and I just need to truly apologize. But I think the most important part of that is how I can, you know, make the most out of that. How can I educate people? How can I, you know, not only continue to educate myself, but continue to make the most out of the scenario, turn it into something positive, to show other influencers, to show other people on the internet, this is how you respond from something so negative, this is how you grow and learn, and this is, you know, this is the right thing to do.
After the break, our influencers tell us where their careers go from here.
I am going to start taking design process and construction, and I'm going to be blogging and having everyone follow my adventures.
And I think one of the things I realized was, why am I not using this for good every single day? Why isn't there something I'm posting every day that's helping someone?
Welcome back to The Point. At 20 years old, Nash Grier is already a social media veteran. At 64, Lyn Slater's social media career is just beginning. Here's what they say is next for them. At what point did you decide you wanted to start giving back, and what form has that taken?
When you post content every day, you kind of go back to that your profile page, and you see your followers, and you see, you know, your trends and your analytics, and you're like, what do I do to grow? What do I do to keep this going? And I think one of the things I realized was, why am I not using this for good every single day? Why isn't there something I'm posting every day that's helping someone? And I think I'm just kind of cracking that seal or shell or whatever you want to call it.
And what is the first crack of the shell?
Well, for me, it's probably partnering with the Thirst Project. It was probably raising money to go build wells in Africa. It's getting people who would never see an issue or who would never see this, you know, problem, and getting them to help out and getting them to be aware of it, of this problem, and then going and documenting the issue and the change firsthand, which social media is changing. I don't think charity will be the same in the future. If you look at, you know, all these huge charities, people kind of text, give their money away, whatever it is, and it just kind of, you don't see anything else. We're donating our money to cancer research, and it gets donated, and that's the end of the story. For social media, I'm seeing influencers and activists raise money, and then they're documenting what they're doing with that money firsthand. The internet has allowed people to see the world as a world now, and not just, me living here. And taking that perspective has given me, the realization, hey, I need to be doing something charitable every single day. And if I'm not, I'm wasting my time.
Lyn, how has your family adjusted to the public nature of your new career?
My family is very supportive. They're not surprised because I've always been surprising them for my whole life.
Do you think you'd want to go into clothing design?
Absolutely.
And do you have a timeline for that?
I do.
Well, when is that?
I'm actually a new project I'm starting next week, which I am really excited about, is I am going to start taking design process and construction, and I'm going to be blogging and having everyone follow my adventures about it.
We'll have everybody look for that. Any advice for people who want to pursue a similar path to yours?
I think my biggest piece of advice is you need to know who you are. You need to know what you want to say, and you need to be pretty fearless about doing it. Don't attach to numbers, focus on content, and be authentic at all times.
That's almost exactly my advice, especially the don't focus on the numbers. You make great content, it all works out.
That's right.
The rise of social media and the fall of network TV are changing the traditional definition of celebrity. In fact, a recent survey of millennials found that they were more influenced by social media stars than traditional celebrities. Why? Because social media stars are more relatable. According to a study commissioned by Google, 70% of teens admit that they can relate to those folks more than traditional celebrities. So the point is that personal connection to your social following makes you more influential, no matter how old you are.